Hey guys, it's Streed, and today I'm going to be reviewing the obscure 70s on-the-run flick, Figures in a Landscape. Figures in a Landscape was directed by Joseph Losey. It starred predominantly Robert Shaw and Malcolm McDowell, famous for Jaws and A Clockwork Orange respectively. The film is about two escaped criminals, McConaughey and Ansel, as they trudge the desolate wilderness. They must avoid a sadistic pilot and a menacing black helicopter that relentlessly pursues them throughout the film, tormenting them. They also must face the dangers of the wild and a group of soldiers tracking them. This is a very simple yet effective film. The constant threat of the black helicopter is very foreboding, with the pilot being a sadist playing a game of cat and mouse with our two main characters. This film was a flop, unfortunately, and now it's nearly forgotten, which is a real shame, because the film is quite eloquent, powerful, and gripping all the way through, showing the struggles of survival. Personally, I believe this film deserves cult status. It's one of the greatest films ever made that's engaging, filled to the brim with scenic beauty, and a bleak yet fitting ending to our anti-hero's long, perilous journey. What a beautiful cinematic masterpiece this is. I had such a great time watching this. Not once was I bored throughout watching this, and most of this movie, the plot is very thin. I will admit the plot's thin, but to not be bored at all with such a thin plot and just to be mesmerized the entire way through really proves to how great this film is. And I'm surprised at how obscure it is, really, because I've never heard of this film before. I just happened to find it on IMDb, and I thought the plot sounded interesting. And this film it's very similar in a couple ways to People of Honor and Duel. It's like a mix between People of Honor and Duel. Now let's get on to the strengths. The beautiful scenery. Oh man, the scenery is absolutely gorgeous. There's so many environments here, but I think this takes place somewhere around Spain, really. But there's like there's a mountain with a bunch of snow on there. Predominantly, though, throughout the film, there's a lot of desert, kind of like very desolate looking places. But there's also there's like a field in there. There's a few forests and such, so you get a lot of beautiful scenery. There's beautiful flowers. It's so gorgeous and professionally shot. And the music is minimal, but it is very effective and it adds to the atmosphere. Some of the music even sounds like it came right out of Duel. It has some sort of the same instrumentation. And the two main characters are very compelling and they have chemistry. And there's actually a little bit of character development in there. Now, we don't know much about their past. We don't know why they're on the run. We don't know how long they've been out on the run. But we do know that their last names are McConaughey and Ansel. And at first, they're sort of at odds with each other because they have very conflicting personalities. McConaughey is this big, brutish, fucking barroom brawler, you know? He's like, be a man! Be a man! You know, he's like a tough guy. And, Ansel is a bit of a weak, sort of timid, awkward kind of guy, but they need each other in order to survive, and as the film goes along, they actually get closer, because at the beginning, it just seems like they're just partners trying to work out a mutual benefit, but right, like, as the film goes along, they build a real friendship, and it's honestly kind of sweet to see, you know, to see such a tough and surly, angry guy. At the beginning of the film, he's calling him useless. He's like, "You're not even helping me. You're not even helping me. I hate you." Because for the first 30 minutes of the film, they both have their hands tied behind their back, so they must have not been. So they must have not been on the run that long. I think they've been on the run for at most maybe two to 3 days, maybe. That's just gonna guess because their hands will be completely red or purple if they were out there for like a few weeks or a month or so. But yeah, at the beginning, for the first 30 minutes, they got their hands tied. And so McConaughey, he sees this old farmer, and he's hoping he wants to kill him to see if he has anything on him to cut him loose. But Ansel, he may be a criminal, but he's very uncomfortable with killing throughout this movie. He really doesn't want to do it. But McConaughey, he's just like, oh, we'll do what we have to. We'll fucking kill him. We'll do what we fucking have to. We're men. Be a man. You didn't even fucking help me. you know? So at the beginning, they're really at odds, but towards the end, um, as they get closer, Ansel has this mental breakdown. He's like, "We're worse than animals. What have we become?" You know, and they're in a cave, and he starts crying. And then McConaughey is actually comforting him, and he's like, "It's okay, man. Everything's gonna be all right." And honestly, that is some great character development. Despite these guys not having much written to them, they have some interesting little hints to their past. You know, like McConaughey has this wife, which I don't know if he was on good terms with or not. He's sort of mixed in messages with that, but he mentions her constantly throughout the film. And Ansel, he apparently was a ladies' man, and he worked in some sort of band as a composer, I think. And next, the mysterious black helicopter pilot. Oh man, this is where the dual correlations start to come in. When I told Jordan the premise to this movie, he said it basically sounded like Duel with a helicopter, and honestly, it's very much like that. It has the elements of the prisoners or the bandits or like the scumbag lowlives traversing across the country like in People of Honor, but it had the pursuit and the danger and almost the animalistic part of Duel with the truck constantly chasing this guy. And it's like every time these guys are close to freedom, they're close to relaxation, this fucking helicopter just comes swooping in, and they have plenty of chances to just mow these guys down. You know, they have plenty of chances to kill them, but no, they're teasing them. I think it's mostly the pilot. The pilot's teasing him. They're teasing both of them. Like, he has plenty of chances just to get him, arrest him, and kill him. You know, just set it down and arrest him. But he's taking pleasure in this. And another correlation to Duel is that the pilot, you barely see his face. I think you only see, like, his mustache. And, like you only see some of his face. He doesn't have any dialogue, and when he does talk, when he's talking to the observer, you can't hear their dialogue. So it gives the helicopter itself more of an animalistic feel, like it's not even human. It's just this force that's tracking them down, you know? And I like to think of it as like maybe an allegory for like consequences, like because these guys are criminals, you know. McConaughey goes around killing a few people throughout the film, and I see this thing as like maybe their conscience, or maybe like a higher power telling them that your doom is inevitable, which it is in the end. That's what I kind of like to think about it. This movie is very metaphorical, and that's another thing I really loved about it. And there's magnificent tension and suspense. Usually when the helicopter is getting around them, even when it's not there, you can feel its presence. And another thing I love about the black helicopter is it doesn't have too much. It doesn't have too many scenes, but yet it also has the right amount of scenes. Because even when it's not there, you can almost feel that it's somewhere around the corner. And there's little light bits of comedy, like for instance, I think it was either the observer or the pilot. I think it was the pilot, but there's a really hilarious scene where McConaughey ends up killing the pilot. He comes up with a plan with Ansel to distract him, you know, lower him down, so McConaughey can grab him, and he was going to shoot the gas thing and blow it up. But then McConaughey was thinking, wait a minute, that'll kill us all, because the explosion will engulf us in flames. So he decides to kill the pilot, and he falls down, and he has this hilarious moment of celebration.
What about this? Bloody Christmas present? If I think, I'd have wiped that bloody smile right off his greasy face! He was laughing at you, boy!
Robert Shaw is such a delightful actor. Him and Malcolm McDowell really carry this film. Like, they are so good in this. I wonder if they made any other films together. I wonder. And there's also a really funny scene where they're in this like maze, like this field of sorts. And McConaughey gets a snake, and he's like, "Look what I found! Look what I found! It's a snake!" You know, he's like, "I'll see you later, little girly," or something like that when he lets it go, because they're heading for I think the French border, because they're around in Spain. I don't know my fucking geography, but That's what it seemed like, and the ending is so depressing, but it matches the film so well. It matches the gritty, bleak, realistic, unrelenting, pitiless environment of this film, and it's so fucking good. Alright, so the ending is they finally reach the French border, and I think there's some French guards there, and Ansel, he takes his gun and he drops it, because obviously they don't speak the same language, basically saying, I come in peace, everything's fine. Then McConaughey, as he's walking, he's a little hesitant, he's a little afraid, the black helicopter comes right in and it fucking shoots at him. This time it starts shooting back, because earlier it was like throwing bombs and shit to try and kill him, and they somehow survived. So, anyways, the helicopter comes back and it starts shooting, but unfortunately it nails good old McConaughey and he just dies there. And the camera pans out super far away, and it does it so slowly just to absorb everything that's going on. It's almost symbolic for his soul leaving his body and us getting out of the film and just seeing all of this unfold as Ansel goes with the guards to his new place where his fate is unknown. And negatives, basically weaknesses, I have none. Absolutely none. This film is moving in every single way. The acting is great. The music is great. The writing is also great. I like the way they relate to each other. I like the character development. Even though we don't know much about these guys, the character development is still pretty interesting. This film could have easily, could have easily been tremendously boring, horribly written, and just uneventful, but somehow it managed to work so well, and it is such a damn shame that this film is so obscure and so untalked about to this day. I implore each and every one of you to seek out this film. The entire film's on YouTube, so it's not really hard to find. If you want to watch it, you can just pop it in on YouTube. I would have to give this a definite 10 out of 10. I absolutely recommend it. This film is an underrated gem and a masterpiece. Well, guys, that was my review for Figures in the Landscape, and I will see you all next time.